Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue our comic book movie journey through film, and Superman returns in Superman Returns. This movie was released on June 30th, 2006. It was written by Michael Daugherty, Dan Harris, and Bryan Singer, and was directed by Bryan Singer, director of X-Men and X2, and massive piece of shit. I am Colton Robertson. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Yeah, it's nice to have Superman back on the table. And in a movie I feel so about. I'm 50-50 on it. How are you feeling about it right now?
It's a little confusing to know really what this movie is, if it's just a sequel, an homage, or because it's like it seemed like and I've looked into it afterwards, but like it seems that it takes place after Superman 2, and they don't really care about any of the details in 3 or 4.
No, yeah.
And then, because there is Marlon Brando in there, and like they do bring stuff back to make it like, okay, this is the same universe.
Expressly references in one of what is supposed to be an emotionally pivotal point in the film, what was my favorite line in Superman 1, when Marlon Brando says, you will see my life through your eyes, and the father will become the son, and the son the father. Like that whole thing.
But then, like, you start to think about, it's like, okay, so obviously Superman and Lois, they had their night together. They did the deed, whatever. And then, so, like, she's pregnant then. Did she, like, find, like, how soon did she, like, did she just, I don't really want to get into thinking about all this whatever, about, like, her just, like, oh, no, this is obviously Superman's baby or whatever. I guess her memory has been wiped before, and, like, all the, it's all kind of up in the air anyways. But, like, as far as, like, paying homage to the old movies, I think that it was really, really well done in that sense of, like, they knew...
Oh, yeah.
They knew that what the old movies were great. They knew, like, Superman 1, they were trying to replicate it. That's for sure. They were really trying to do a lot of the same thing. And that can only really go so far. Is like it is updated and it does look newer and like new. Like the flying is much better. Like the a lot of the VFX are a lot better and stuff like that. But then it's like, I don't know. I kind of want to see something different at some point.
If you're going to continue that story, and you are going to so obviously depend on it, make it a little more fun. Yeah. This movie is not like when it comes to Man of Steel, I'd say it's definitely a better movie than this one. But tonally, fascinatingly enough, it takes more after this than it does anything else with Superman, Yeah. And I think it works a lot better in that movie because it's a lot better of a movie. Like if you are going to rip on the Christopher Reeve Superman so hard, which I think this is supposed to be the same guy. I think it's supposed to be the same Superman. Experienced the same things. It's the same Lex Luthor. It's the same Lois. Very cool. All the power to you.
Does a good job of being that.
I like Brandon Routh.
Yeah,
I like Brandon Routh.
He does a good job, but the Lex switch up there is just like
Kevin Spacey is a hollow imitation of Gene Hackman, man.
I guess prison changed him. I don't know. I mean, like, but like, yeah, it's a very wildly different take. And
there's a whimsy to Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor that he emphasizes. He's very pronounced. He's super campy, and he knows he's over the top. He knows he's campy, and it's Kevin Spacey's feels like he wants to be that at a lot of points. He does these things that tries to be that, but he just doesn't have the juice like Gene Hackman does, man. There's the whimsy is not there. My man is not a contemplative gnome on a winter's night. Gene Hackman is. That's his bag right there.
Yeah, just wasn't really the same. But like, I don't know, like they're like the opening of this movie, I think, is like, I have a lot of different things that are up for like my favorite scene, and that's kind of the thing. There are some really cool scenes throughout the movie, but it's just kind of like a little boring, like throughout most of it. Like it's just kind of like all right, like I've seen like we've done this before. Lex before was just California. I'm gonna get some prime real estate. Now he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna make my own island at this point, and that's his big plan there. But like the Superman like savior scenes are really cool, but there's no one for him to really fight. Like he doesn't really fight a lot in this at all. And whenever he does fight, it's on the island and he's very weakened, and Lex just punches him down the stairs and then stabs him and throws him off the edge of a cliff. And it's like, I don't know. I think apparently there was Jude Law was supposed to be Zod in this movie, but he was too busy with X-Men Last Stand and couldn't. So they just kind of wrote around that. And there's a lot of
Law?
Yeah. Or wait a minute. Am I mixing up? I'm mixing up someone.
Jude Law's not in X-Men Last Stand.
No, not X-Men Last Stand. Okay. No, I don't know why I said that. But Jude Law was supposed to be Zod, though. I remember I'm hearing that. Not X-Men Last Stand.
Well, Bryan Singer probably did this instead of X-Men The Last Stand.
Yeah. I'm thinking of James Marsden. Like, he was just an X-Men Last Stand. I think maybe that's where I just got the type.
Again, Bryan Singer directed X-Men and X2. James Marsden is killed off at the beginning of X-Men The Last Stand. I wonder how much this had something to do with that.
Yeah, Bryan Singer left X-Men. Like, he got this opportunity. He was like, yeah, I'm taking this. I'm leaving.
I'm going to do Superman. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
I've done 2 X-Men movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of jumping around to see who was going to do Superman. There was Tim Burton with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
the
Superman
possibility of that.
And
a few others were like writing scripts and stuff like that, and then it eventually landed with Bryan Singer. And I think, like Brandon Routh, I don't know. I like, as far, I don't think he does Clark as well as Christopher Reeve. Like he does have the mannerisms, and he is very clumsy, and he is very, dorky at times. But you could kind of tell there was like they tried to do the scene where Christopher Reeve was in Lois's apartment and like morphs, like the morph from Superman to Clark, or from Clark to Superman. And like, it just didn't, like, it wasn't like, I don't know. Christopher Reeve just had that down, like, in a different way.
No, yeah, like there's something about Christopher Reeve's Superman where I'd believe, it's conceivable to me that you could think those are 2 separate people. When Lois goes from talking to Clark to Superman being out on her balcony, I feel like she should instantly know it's the same man she was just looking at. And
she's a Pulitzer.
They do stuff with his color, the eye color. I don't know if you noticed that. His eyes go from brown to blue whenever he's Clark versus Superman.
I didn't notice that, actually.
And I don't know if that was just like one scene where they made a mistake where his eyes were brown, but like his eyes are like a vibrant blue when he's Superman, like very prominently blue.
But yeah, like, Clark and Superman both take a 5-year hiatus, and they both come back
at the same time.
Lois is, Pulitzer winning detective, investigative journalist, and they're like,
I
bring it up. They're like,
cannot believe they decided to do another installation into this mythos, which is already 4 movies deep. Do a 5th one and still not let Lois know that Superman is Clark. That makes me want to die, man. Like, yeah. I could not believe it. I could not believe they did that again.
That pissed me the fuck off. She was like, how many F's are there in catastrophe? Lois Lane says in the movie. A Pulitzer winning, like what, like, I don't, like, why are you making her seem stupid? Like, she's, like, I don't know. I don't understand. But.
No, there's a, and they were trying to do an homage to Margot Kidder's Superman, who does a lot of that spell checking with Jimmy Olsen in the first movie, where she's like, how many this letter and this word? It's never none, though.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
It's never like, I don't know how you hear the word. I know how you hear the word catastrophe and think there's an F, but the word catastrophe doesn't have an F, like, maybe an E. How many E's in catastrophe? Like,
yeah.
Is there 2 E's at the end, or is there just one? But F? Catastrophe? No. How many A's? I don't know.
Yeah. Of all I'm saying, though, I think they did, I wish they would have just dropped, like, Clark would have just dropped the ball, or I'd rather Lois figure it out and be like, oh, no, you're Superman. Like, I'd rather that happen. But I think, like, this, like, yeah, I moved on. Like, I needed to move on, but she really didn't want to, like, you left without saying goodbye. What the fuck? And then, like, her having a kid and having to deal with that and, like, having to deal with this back and forth. I thought it was like a pretty cool, like, not thinking of all the logistics of how it even started and stuff like that. It gets really muddy. But, like, for the movie, I think it was, like, kind of an interesting direction to take Lois and have her.
I think the story works overall. Lois is very headstrong and independent. And so it does shock, like, the inclusion of Richard in her life at all is interesting to me. 'Cause Lois, she clearly has a love for him.
Mm-hmm.
But she's definitely not in love with him. Like, there's very little in this movie that would do anything to indicate to you that she's actually in love with this man. Yeah. In fact, everything points to the contrary.
Yeah. Like, oh no, he's like related to the editor.
He's related to Perry White. Yeah.
Yeah. He helped me a lot of pull some strings and stuff like that. So, like, very useful for me, whatever. And, like, just she needed someone to father a child. Like, I don't really want to think about how all this, the pregnancy and all that would have worked, and, like, how, I don't know, maybe whatever. But, like, I mean, it's better for the kid to grow up with a father, I guess, and have at least, like, in their house and stuff like that. Like, she flew around all the time. That's like, she's longing for a Superman. Mm-hmm. He takes me flying all the time. And, like, oh, not like this. Like, and then you get that moment, whatever. But yeah, she's definitely not in love with him. But I mean, I think it has a really an interesting angle for the movie, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But a little strange at the same time. Like,
it's weirdly handled at the very least, because I just I can't fathom how, like, I'm trying not to get hung up on how it would have started, but I can't help but get hung up on how it would have started.
Important, yeah. They had their
night. It'd be one thing if Richard thought, like, if Richard's like, I am the stepfather to this child. Yeah. Like, he knows he's not the father to this child, but he's raised the kid through the whole beginning of his life, so he is his father. Like, mm-hmm. I think that's. Yeah. I almost think that's more meaningful than him thinking he's his dad. In fact, I think that's kind of contrary to Lois at large. There's a lot of stuff that I think that relationship does to counteract who Lois is as a character in general. Like, I think Lois would sooner raise a child by herself than to find a man just to cover up that she kid. Yeah, like that's so I have a few gripes with the adaptation of Lois, and while that be the case, I do think that they handle it relatively well within the context of the story. It's just that, like, when I think about Lois as a character, a lot of the stuff that she does in this doesn't add up for me. And Superman, they do a pretty good job with Superman. It's like you got to really, really fuck up to fuck up Superman.
Simple, yeah, pretty simple character.
Just a hopeful guy.
Just always good. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, as far as all the Supermen go, Brandon Routh is probably at the bottom of the list. Someone just has to be there. We haven't got
a bad Superman. No, he plays an impressive casting, I think.
An unknown kind of actor. There were like other people in consideration, and I forgot who it was, but it was some big name at the time, and they were like the big name just kind of takes away. It's like you can only see them like in the character, and just having someone just kind of a fresh new face in there playing Superman. I think he did a really good job with what he had to work with, and
I'll never forget when I learned Brandon Routh played a Superman though, because I knew him as the first thing I ever encountered Brandon Routh in was Arrow as Ray Palmer, the Atom, the guy with the shrinking suit and the expanding suit. That's Brandon Routh.
He's also in the CW universe as Superman too, right?
Yes, he pops up as this Superman. Which is also very cool. But then another thing that I absolutely love him in is in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He plays Brie Larson's current boyfriend. He's the vegan who gets his superpowers from being vegan, which is hilarious.
Okay.
But yeah, so like, what's crazy is like, as much as I because I do enjoy him in this role. I think if I remember correctly, I am giving him my performance. No, I'm not giving him my performance. I am giving him my character.
I gave him performance for me, and I was
good.
I'm going for character. Character is the one that's just kind of loose. Like I like it. It's probably Superman and probably Clark, but it's like. It's not going to
make a boring Superman, bro. Like it's fine.
Kind of a stalker as well, kind of stalking Lois a little bit, like
a little bit.
Going to her house, just looking through and like I don't know, just like having like little sad boy hours at some, it's like, did you had your night with Superman? Did you love him? Like Lois would be like, no, or whatever. Like obviously she's just telling a lie to not, ruin her current relationship, whatever. And then he's like, oh, whatever. I'm just gonna save a lot of people now, like because that's what I do when I'm sad. Whatever. So
whenever Lois comes downstairs after her flight with Superman, and James Marsden is like, "Be honest,"
and
everyone looks around and they're like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Did you smoke?" It kind of killed me. That kind of like I kind of laughed my ass off in that moment. I thought it was pretty funny. But
because that's what you look like after you smoke a cigarette.
She looks like she just had sex. She looks like she has sex hair going on. It was basically orgasmic for her. What just occurred? She emotionally cheated, if not physically.
Forgot how warm you were. Yeah, they basically had sex in their minds up there. Pretty much.
Can you read my mind? Can you see the things I'm doing to you? Basically,
they have their
Yeah, they do. But no, I want to get back to Brandon Routh. Like, I enjoy his performance. I think the thing that prevented me from picking him for performance is that I have seen him in other things, and he's capable of so much more. Like it's just they kind of just made him pretty. We were just talking about Ahsoka for the Patreon. They made him really stoic, and I don't love that. Like I think it's fine. There are versions of Superman where that makes sense. And like, I don't think that Superman has to be all like happy-go-lucky. Yes, I'm the good guy. I'm always the good guy. And I think it's okay for him to be stoic. But you got Brandon Routh, who's an extremely charismatic and fun actor. So like, I don't really know why they went that direction. And that's why like the the dissonance with what they are continuing, the campiness and the funness of the original Superman movies, does not meld with the dark, serious angle they were trying to make this movie have.
Yeah, he has a few quips in there, like, after the plane scene and like after he saves everyone or whatever, he's like, yeah, I hope this wasn't too much of a fright. Plane travel is still statistically the safest way to travel. It was a line by line, from the original. And I don't know, it just didn't really feel the same. Like they were trying to do a little bit of campiness, but with the serious tone as well, and it just didn't really meld as well. And like, I don't know, this suit is just not doing it for me either. Like,
it's not great. I think it's definitely even the one that they made for like Dark Superman and Superman 3, I think I liked more. Like the maroon that they went with for that. Like,
yeah,
I think that looks better than this did. And I don't hate this suit by any means. It's just definitely the weakest Superman suit we've seen.
The cape, I don't know. I kept looking at the cape and I'm like, something's just off about this.
Oh, cape. The material of the cape. It's not like the
leather.
Cloth.
It's like a leather or something.
That's funny. I actually didn't mind that. I actually kind of liked that. Mostly because it reminded me of the action figures I had when I was little, like the little rubbery cape. That's kind of like what I was thinking of when I was seeing it. So in practicality, yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but it kind of made me nostalgic to see it like that. But again, like, it is interesting that you're taking, again, the same Superman and you're just gonna revamp him in all these different ways. Like, I don't. It is what it is. We got what we got, and I'll take it. But I think that Bryan Singer was fresh off X-Men and X2, and Warner Brothers or whoever produced this movie was like, this man's got the juice right now for Superman movies. Go ahead and give him Superman. And I think he is much more well adept for a team of superheroes than he is for Superman. Like, I don't think this is pretty boring direction. Like, the worst thing you can do with any movie, but especially a superhero movie, is for me to want to come back to the word boring over and over. Like, that is not good.
Yeah, not at all. Like, the action sequences are probably like the only thing that makes it not boring. Like, whenever he does like save Lois and the whole people in the plane and the shuttle, like, that's a really cool action sequence. He goes up there, he slices the things off with his laser vision, sends the shuttle up, tears the wings off so that he can land the plane. Kind of a baller move to land it inside of a stadium. I guess, like,
oh yeah,
not really.
He was like, I'm back. He
wanted an audience. Yeah, he was like, he wanted to drop down and get some cheers, from people. So I mean, pretty baller there. And I really did like that scene. I thought it was, very suspenseful, very action packed there.
Very Superman too. Like, it's one of my favorite little. I like saving a plane, because that's something that's so uniquely.
Who else can do that?
Yeah, uniquely not possible for anyone else, so like
Iron Man, like,
he doesn't have the strength to do that,
that's not really a thing. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing that, like, the only thing that was nagging at me during that scene is that I think it probably should have been much easier for him than it was.
He lifts a whole fucking island at the and puts them into space. I feel like plane, it is flying really fast and it is going out of control and whatever. There's a lot going on, I guess, and this is his first. Maybe he's a little rusty. I don't know. He's been off in Krypton, and just found out his whole planet's dead for sure. Now
hasn't flexed the muscles in a while.
Yeah. Really, a deleted scene. They had that all filmed, completed, of him going to Krypton in that ship and like seeing all of that stuff, seeing Krypton demolished and everything. And I'm like, I don't know why they left it out. Maybe because, like, you'd expect the movie to be a lot more grand and a lot more stuff to happen if you see like this huge spaceship and then going to Krypton. I don't know. But like, man, as far as like, it is kind of true. The movie is a little boring. I feel like we could have used some of that. Like,
for sure. Well, and the other thing is that I think they are relying a great deal, I think, on the nostalgia of the old Superman movies, and you just kind of being content with going, whoa, everything looks so cool
Yeah.
now. You know, because like the Fortress of Solitude looks dope. You know, like I think I do still prefer the bright practical version of it, but like the island that Lex raises from the ground, super fucking cool. You know, like that's a great idea, and it does follow with that old Lex. Like he even says the line where he's like, "And I'll be selling coastal real estate, baby." And it's like, what the fuck do you mean? This is an island made of crystals, dude. Like,
it doesn't really add up. He's like, yeah, it's gonna kill billions, you know, or whatever. He's gonna kill. Like, who are you really gonna sell this to? Like, people are gonna be pissed off, like that you wiped out like a quarter of the Earth's population, you know, and like who really wants to live on like this radioactive crystal island? And you say you have like alien technology, but then it's just like a big empty kind of island with nothing at the end, and it's like, I don't know, maybe he has like a 10-year plan where he's gonna build it up,
he'd like terraform it or something. Yeah, I don't know, but like, I just like
you know,
the logic of it, which Lex Luthor is typically pretty sound with, like, you know, at least when it was knocking California off the map, it was like in secret. Nobody was going to know that he was the one who did it. And nobody and then he bought up all this real estate that was previously the coast. And then he's just going to sell it because that would still be a coast, you know, like,
yeah, it wouldn't be
a giant fucking block.
Whatever. And I guess it's only radioactive to Superman. So like, I guess people would be chilling. But like, you know, they were like playing poker or like gambling in there, and like, it's just a big room, like a big crystal castle, and like it's just an open room. Like that's all it is. You know, I guess you had to start with the landmass before you had anything else. But
this might be the original gray superhero movie. As far as a movie with just a lack of interesting color palette, this might be a trendsetter in that regard. This might be the first one where they were like, yeah, we're not even gonna fucking try, bro. Like everything on that island, I can appreciate the VFX. It's so fucking dull to look at though. Like it's so, again, boring. And I hate to keep coming back to that word, but it is. Like, and so much of the direction and so much of the acting is boring. Like the reason I went with my performance is because I feel like she just kind of did whatever the fuck she wanted. I went with Parker Posey as Kitty Kowalski.
I mean, like,
one, I love Parker Posey, so I was inclined to her. But she was also the villain in Blade Trinity. The one with the vagina teeth, apparently.
Yeah.
And
wow, what a switch up here.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed her quite a bit more in this movie than I did in that movie.
Told Lex, she's like, what did my father used to always tell me? You're losing your hair, or I forgot.
Yeah, because she's like Miss Tessmacher, but doesn't like praise the ground that Lex walks on. She's just kind of like, and that's another thing about this Lex that I don't fully understand. Like, the whole thing that with Miss Tessmacher and Otis was that like it was just a bunch of yes men who were like, I love everything you do. Why the fuck does he have Kitty around? I love Kitty, don't get me wrong, and I think Parker Posey, I picked her for my performance. But like that feels contrary to the Lex that we've come to know too. Maybe he just needed a little bit of an ego check, and he's like, she provides that for me. Yeah,
the whole Lex everything sort of doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like it's just they needed a villain, they needed something bigger than California. They're like, fuck it, whole island, it's gonna drown out the United States. They're like, yeah, that's bigger. All right, sure.
That will be bigger. Another thing that kills me. Oh, go ahead.
I just love how he had all those maps made in that amount of detail, like in the yacht. Like he's like 7 of them too. Like just the slideshow of maps that he had made of like how this island would take over. And how the fuck he knew, like, how big this island was gonna be. Like, I mean, like...
Yeah, you can't really know that, bro.
Like, how... Like, they put that little... I mean, I guess they put that little itty-bitty speck in just the... below the house, you know, the mansion or whatever.
Yeah.
And they saw that did, so maybe he's like, you know, he's super smart. He could be like, well, you know, doing little calculations, whatever. It's gonna be about that big, sure. But yeah, just... Lex was... was just a real disappointment. Like, I don't know. I tried to like start to like him. Like I tried to like I was like, okay, maybe it's just a different direction, you know, that they're trying to go with it. I'm gonna just suspend all that and forget about Gene Hackman's performance and see just
you're already starting from below zero for me with Kevin Spacey. Don't like Kevin Spacey. Not a terrible actor, but a terrible person. Which, again, I try to separate myself from while I watch movies, but when you're looking at the person's face the whole time, it's hard to do that. And Kevin Spacey, it's just Kevin Spacey, especially when he's playing a villain. I'm like, he's just being himself, you know, like, he's just that way. But then on top of that, you're trying to live up to Gene Hackman, who's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's playing the same character. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, again, a new adaptation of the character. It's just a different version of Lex, you know? Like, when it comes to Tom Holland versus Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is one of my favorite Spider-Man or one of my favorite actors of all time, and probably my favorite Spider-Man. I don't go, Tom Holland's not living up to Andrew Garfield. Because he's a different version of Spider-Man. You know, like I love Tom Holland, but Andrew Garfield's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's playing the same version of Lex, and he's not doing it well. And it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore.
Yeah. Like and him just coming out of prison, just swindling this old lady to get all of her, you know, like wealth and everything, stuff like that. And then he's, I guess he had this plan, you know, he's been in prison for a while, and the reason he got out is just because Superman didn't show up to his trial.
To a parole hearing, yeah.
I don't think that's how the legal system works. And then, like, it was really funny how, like, even Lex was like, yeah, Superman, I don't think you know how the legal system works. You didn't show up to my parole or whatever thing, so I'm free now because of you. And it's like, well, you know, I don't... whatever. You know, all the...
Yeah, like, you don't know the Miranda... And, like, that part, like, I got, because if you recall, what Superman did... the thing is that he was properly arrested the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, he escaped from prison.
And he just dropped him.
But he just dropped him right back in the yard.
That's true.
Which technically shouldn't be like a new version of arresting him. It's just returning him to where he already belonged from that first sentence. Yeah. So like, you know, I have again, the logic issues, the logic holes, you can poke a lot in them. But another thing that just kind of kills me, and this is more personal, like it probably doesn't bother anyone else. I love Kal Penn. The actor who's like his engineer, the one that like drills the hole in the crystal. He plays Kumar in Harold and Kumar. Love the Harold and Kumar movies. Hilarious dude. Absolutely funny. I thought he was going to be the new Otis. I thought he was going to be the next Otis. Doesn't say a single fucking word in the movie. Yeah. And I was like, you got to be shitting me, man. I love this guy.
Another deleted scene with him. And he like planted some seeds to make Superman think that Krypton was still like a thing and that he could go there and maybe actually find some people. And then they got rid of that.
Was the original cut of this movie 4 fucking hours long?
I have no idea. Those are the only 2 deleted scenes that I heard of, was him going to Krypton and then, you know, the little seed drop. Like, it wasn't Lex that even like did this little seed, like making him want to go back to Krypton. It was this guy, but he was just there to be like, all right, let me load the missile up. Let me drill the Krypton or kryptonite core thing. Let me drop the little crystal in the pond. It's like no lines really whatsoever.
I'm okay. Like, this is not a big deal to me because it happens in comics sometimes, but this version of Lex, he surrounded himself with people who like worship the ground he walked on, of course. He also surrounded himself with dumbasses to make himself feel smarter. You got this fucking engineer on your team all of a sudden, and I'm like, again, not consistent with the Lex we know. You know, he likes being the smartest person in the room, and maybe he's just more secure in his intelligence now. Maybe that's all that means. But like, I don't know. Feels weird. Feels off. It's just, there's a lot about this movie that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and I guess like the scenes that I did like, whenever Superman was saving people like that, like it, and it was really nice just to have that score like in the background, just him going through Metropolis, laser visioning all the debris that's fallen. That was really cool to see. Like, and then like saving a guy falling from a building, putting him back on, like catching the Daily Planet, big thing, and looking at that list for a little. Like there were some really cool shots. Him, like my shot, I'm kind of going back and forth of either him like having his little Atlas moment, him like holding up the Daily Planet thing, or there was one, I think it was it might have been after he got stabbed and thrown in the water. I don't know, but he flew up to like recharge, like to get some sunlight, to recharge, and he was just kind of up, like it was like right when he went through the clouds, like and it was like right like when he was just going up, and I don't know, just like the flying and stuff. I really liked in this one. I thought they did a really good job with him flying around.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, it was and that's the thing is that like when Superman just got a chance to do Superman shit, I did enjoy those moments in the movie. Especially another thing that this movie does get right is the way people look at Superman. That's something that I'm kind of a sucker for, is whenever people are looking at him like my hero, like I love this guy. And like whenever they're all watching him save like nobody's worried that they're about to be hurt. Yeah. Like there's debris flying from the sky and all of them are just standing in place, just like, whoa, he's back. Like everyone feels so safe with him. And so that's something that I always appreciate with Superman adaptations. And it's something that I feel like you have to do for me to feel like you've done him any sort of justice, is just a general admirance from the people, especially these people who have experienced the events with Superman already. Like they know him. They're from
even like the moment when she, brakes were cut. She's just, I mean, what a way to distract, from their little museum heist to get the.
I was just gonna act like the brakes were out, like
oh my god! But
that actually leads to my favorite shot.
Ooh.
Whenever Superman picks up the car and then when he's setting it down, they recreate the cover of Action Comics #1.
That's
with the car above his head. Yeah, Action Comics #1. He's holding the car above his head and he's about to set it down, and that's
cool. That's sick.
And so like as soon as I saw the car being run away and then I saw Superman lift it up, I was like, do it, please, do it. I was like, they did, and I was like, well, that's got to be my pick then, because I wanted it so bad. So they followed through on some things you wanted, and I appreciate it.
Like, oh my heart, I have palpitations. Take me to the hospital, please. And like she's just hugging up.
He's like looking around, like I don't really believe her, but if I do leave her here, it looks really bad.
And then like there was someone like took a picture of it like on their phone. I thought that was going to come back around and Lois would see it and be like, oh wow, now he's he's going off. He's not interested in me anymore. That never came back around. Whatever. And then she's dropped off at the hospital, and she's like, hey, this might be a little forward, but you want to go get some coffee or something? It's like, which was, I don't know if that was like just like she knew she just had to distract him for longer or whatever, or if she's
like a little bit of both. I think,
like, legitimately like, hey, that's fucking Superman right there. I mean, like, yeah.
Well, and you can also tell that she's having the same moral qualms as Miss Tessmacher did in Superman 1. So it's like, you think that at some point she's gonna turn on Lex, and she never really does. She lets the crystals go, but then she still ends up on that deserted island with Lex, and like that's just where they are now.
Yep. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Dropping the crystals on there, like you saw what happened when one little speck fell in the water, and like if Superman wasn't there to put it up into space, or one of just falls off into the ocean again, like you're fucked.
Yeah.
Whatever. She just didn't want Lex to have him, and that's fine. But apparently that was going to be like they were going to make a sequel to this one. I mean, they're laying the bones to it. He has a kid, and apparently that big chunk of kryptonite up in space was going to be a big part of the sequel. And supposedly Brainiac was supposed to be the villain in that one. Could have been really cool to see, like, maybe they harvest, all that kryptonite that's up there now.
Yeah.
And really, I don't know, really cool. Like, I thought the crystal explanation, like, he wrapped it in like a kryptonite core, and like the crystals
that was dope.
take on whatever's around them, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty sick, and
yeah, I'm cool with that. No beef there.
And then when it started to like rip the ground up and like head towards Metropolis, I thought they were fucked. Like I thought like it was gonna like start mass like destruction, and then he's just in Metropolis saving everybody. And I'm like, I think you should focus on like the the thing that's causing all of this. Like I don't think it's gonna get better. But it's just a movie, and he needed to have some savior moments, and that's they all like the action was cool and everything, but like I feel like there should have been some greater villain, like I don't know, like Zod would have been perfect. Someone who's like equal in strength and that he could actually fight and like actually have some like punches thrown. Like Superman's never like really punched until he's just weakened, and then he's thrown down the steps, and then his henchmen just come over, beat him up a couple times. He gets stabbed, and they're like, "All right, see you later."
I like to think that I think it's funny that Zod is the one like retcon. They were like, "Ooh, we can't come back from that." Because he like fell in that hole.
Yeah.
But you can do a whole lot of other shit, but we don't fuck with that hole. That hole exists,
that goes to the core of the planet, for all we know. Who knows how deep that goes? But yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. I feel like in a Superman movie, the villain is pretty important. Like, I mean, Superman is obviously should be the focal point, and him being, saving people, doing Superman stuff. But like, you got to have some worthy opponent.
I mean, he's Superman, and I think that like the conflict that's posed to him, like Lex's plan, while it has its holes, it is a pretty massive problem, for Superman.
True.
So like that's cool, and I like the it's a whole land that Superman literally cannot step foot on. Like that follows with what Lex's ideals are. Like that makes sense. Like he's like, yeah, and he won't even be able to come near it type shit,
It somehow lifts it up and pushes it in space. And like I guess it could be, I was thinking of it as like, he needs to get this done, and it's like his last act. It's like the last thing he has in him. He knows he must get it done, but like stepped foot on there, like when just on the top, like whatever, like I don't know, like, and he was instantly like weaker. Like I don't know, like they were kind of playing with that a little bit, and like not really too consistent.
No, yeah, I think they do kind of save themselves with him like falling back to Earth. Like that's like yeah, that was it for him. He exhausted everything he had left, and like so I can deal with that. Like I can follow that sort of plot hole a little bit and be fine with it. But yeah, it's just there's just a lot of this movie that doesn't make a ton of sense. And I'm not usually one to gripe on that sort of thing, but when it's so abundant, it's like,
And like, even when I'm like, I'm supposed to cry, like the emotional, like part of the movie, the end, like whenever he's right in front of his son, speaking Jor-El's words, passing him down. And I'm like, I guess I teared up like a little bit, and it was more of like, because of the older movies, like it was more of like the I don't know, just like, wow, what a crazy culmination of, all these movies, everything like that. What a nice little pass down and homage, but it wasn't really because of the movie itself.
No, it's because of the idea of it. Because I'm with you. Like I did feel it, and I picked that for my line because I picked it for my line from Superman 1, and I was like, what are the odds that my favorite line from Superman 1 would be like the crux of the emotional thing I've never seen before? But it just didn't like, it was the idea of it more than the execution of it that made me feel it. I was like, this would be a really cool moment between that Superman and his child. It would be even cooler if he wasn't an absentee father who is about to go ahead and just leave again, and if he could just like go up to Lois and be like, hey, I'm Clark Kent, how about that? And maybe him and Richard get a co-parenting thing going on. I just really don't like the fact that Lois lied to Richard about the parentage. That really doesn't help. Like there's just a lot of stuff that makes it bad.
Yeah, she knew after the piano, like after, right after then, like, I mean, it's like, okay, well, that's obviously not regular little boy things that can be done. So like
Right.
this is Superman's kid from that point on. And I really thought the end of this movie, the way Superman would like wake back up and heal, I thought little boy, what's his name? What's the little kid's name?
I can't remember.
I
I want to call him John because that's his son's name in the comic books, but it's not John.
Jason? Maybe Jason. I think that might sound right. Jason White? Is that? Yeah, Richard White. Yeah, I guess it's Jason in this one. But I really thought like he was going to fly him up like and kind of recharge him in the sun again. Like I thought it was going to be like his like kind of first flying moment, you know, like and like Superman would wake up like be like how like where am I? And then he notices like oh my god, like holy shit, like
yeah, they're flying towards the sun and he's like my son. You know, that's when he gives the whole monologue. That'd be even funnier. Yeah. I wouldn't like that. I think it'd be fucking stupid, but I think it'd be really funny. And then at least it would make me feel something because the movie did something.
Yeah. And I guess like the ending is it's like I like him lifting up the island, pushing it to space. I thought, you know, it looked cool. It was a cool moment. And then it's just like, all right, now he's slowly recovering, and you're like, is he dead? Is he not? We don't really know. You
spend a lot of time with that him in a coma stuff, and I'm like, I like seeing the way people are responding. Again, you know, like the way the people of Metropolis look at Superman is a very important thing to me, and I think they spend a lot of time, sufficient amount of time, expressing just how much they love Superman, which is very, very cool. But it does get to a point where it's like, okay, man, like,
I don't know what I wanted.
Superman. If he was gonna die, he would have just died. You know what I'm saying? Like the coma stuff, like he's not gonna just like slowly die out in a coma. You know, like he's going to fucking wake up.
I thought like whenever he was pushing the island up, I thought like the kryptonite was gonna keep expanding and like it was gonna start to like
penetrate him. Yeah.
And, like, it was just gonna like keep going, and I thought that was gonna be it. But like I guess he would probably be stuck with it at that point. He couldn't fall back down to Earth, and I don't know. Like I don't know how I would end this movie. To do it differently, maybe just actually have him die. I don't know. I don't know if that would make it better.
Yeah, I don't think it. It's just a mess of a movie, you know. Like, I
think
there's no salvaging it just by making the ending different.
Yeah,
you know, like you kind of
pay homage and trying to remake the first one, that they just kind of forgot that like, oh, we have to actually make a good movie here too. Like it's like we can't just keep paying homage and then have that work. Like they have to, you know, do their own thing eventually. And I don't know, I'm glad that like I guess we have the Donner cut after this. So like Man of Steel isn't the next Superman movie, but I guess the newer Superman, you know, we get it, they do go a different direction. And I think it's like I'm thankful that like it because you know this I probably rank it third in the Superman movies so far that we have covered. It's below Superman 2, definitely below 1. Like 1 is still up there, and then 2, and this one probably closer to Superman 2 than it is 3 and 4. But still, yeah, it's just I don't know. It is just a little boring.
Not for me.
Like,
I think it's closer to 3 than it is to 2. And it's just because like it's so dull. I can't get behind it in any capacity, you know, like it's objectively better than 3 and 4, to be sure. And that's just because it's because of the revamped effects and at least they let this story unfold, you know, like Superman 4's runtime is like an hour and 27 minutes, which is like, how are you even going to fucking pull that off? You know, like how, like that story was clearly studio mandated, like it's got to be an hour and a half or less. Yeah. So like I appreciate that they let them tell the story they wanted to tell. I just think the story that they did tell was not very good.
Yeah, not quite. Just wasn't it.
It was just a lot, you know, like there's just so much going on and you don't explore any of it nearly enough for the movie's length. Like it's way too long. You know, I just said that I like that they let them do it, but like you don't need that. Like if you were going to tell this story in 2.5 hours, oh, we could have done a lot more, buddy. You know, like there could have been so much more and it was just so fucking dull.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think like I think Brendan, like with what he had, you know, with what was given to him, he did a great job. And I ended up giving him both character and performance, but again, like it's not really like any standout performance. I don't think like that there really is. It's just, you know, he did capture the essence of Superman well enough, and he did have the Clark clumsiness and nervousness to him, and then when he was Superman, you know, he was back. He plopped the plane down in the middle of, I guess, I don't know what baseball stadium that is, if it's Metropolis's own team or if it's supposed to be, I don't know, Yankee Stadium or whatever. But like he did have really cool Superman moments. Like even during the museum heist and everything, like that minigun that they strapped up to the roof, and then like he comes in and saves those 2 security guards and just tanks all the bullets. And then the guy's like, oh, well, definitely my pistol will definitely kill you now. You know, whatever. I don't care about that.
Bounces right off, like crushes on his eye.
Was a sick shot. Like that might be. That was another shot that I did have, other than like him recharging up in the sky. That was another one. Like the bullet bouncing off his eye was really, really cool. I think I'll probably go with him going above the sky and recharging. Just I'm a sucker for that. Like just him flying. Like I love him flying, like Superman flying, and like I think they did a really good job with the flight and stuff in this movie with him. And I just love like him slowly gaining his strength back, and he balls his fist and is like, yeah, no, I'm back. And
I'm back.
Instantly dives down, like heating up like through the atmosphere, and then just dives straight in, lifts it up. Like I don't know, he knew what he had to do, and was really sick. But I think that's probably what I will choose. But I really did like the Atlas, you know, him holding up the Daily Planet
super
thing.
cool.
That was really sick. But yeah, it's just the action and stuff was cool, but then the in between was just really slow and just kind of dull, and just like I thought that there would be more with his kid. You know, like I thought there'd be more with Jason, I guess, and it was just he killed a henchman and then
explore that without Lois knowing he's Clark. You know, like every story where Lois has a child with Superman, because she knows who Superman is. She didn't just sleep with Superman, you know? So I have very, very mixed feelings about that. Like it's just not mixed, very generally negative feelings about the way that they handled it. But my favorite scene does involve his son. My favorite scene is the one where Richard, Lois, and Jason are about to drown in the boat. And he comes and lifts it out of the water. Like I thought that shit was really, really cool. That was another moment that kind of almost made me tear up, because like he's Superman, he's gonna save them anyway. But I do love the idea that he's saving Lois, the new man in her life, and that guy's kid. You know, he doesn't know it's his kid, but like he's like, I'm saving Lois's family because I love Lois, but I can't have Lois, and that's okay with me, but I gotta save them. You know, like that whole thing, like I'm very cool with that. And that's what I was close to picking Richard for my favorite character in this movie, simply because he handles everything a lot better than I would.
Yeah. Like whenever she's like, turn around, he's like, what? Are you kidding me? He's like, well, he's gonna die, and he's like, all right, you know, fair. He did just save us, you know, whatever. He did. He was okay in here, and was I guess, I don't know, just the questions that he had, like, were you smoking, or like, tell me more about that night that you had, or whatever, and everything. And it was just, I thought that they would explore it a whole lot more, and I thought Jason would have been a whole lot more of a pivotal role in the movie. Like, the kid, like, I don't know, he pushed the piano, and then that's it. Like that, I don't know. Like, and then he's like, he says, like, I'm sorry, mom. Like, I didn't, I just wanted to save you, whatever. And then, like, didn't, like, I thought he was going to be the one to, like, bust the door open or whatever, to, like, do something in that moment, some laser vision, some flight, I don't know, anything else other than
absolutely just murked that dude, though.
Yeah. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, no, without a doubt. That piano was flying at Mach 4. Like, I mean, that thing flew across the room.
Yeah, that man is fucking gone.
Yeah. And like, like, even Lex, like, he kind of waves the kryptonite in front of him, and is like, "Oh, are you sure that this is your kid?" And, like, there isn't even really, like, it doesn't really affect him a lot at all. And maybe it's because he's half human, half, Kryptonian, so maybe it affects him less. I don't know. But, like, I thought they would do, like, maybe he would start coughing a little bit more. But I thought it was, I guess, sort of cool that he didn't have any health problems after he figured out that he had these powers. Like, I don't really know how that works, but he had, like, asthma. He had to take all these other pills for, like, everything else, and then, like, he pushed the piano, and he's like, I don't need my inhaler anymore. I'm okay. Like,
he unlocked something.
I'm good. Yeah, and I guess, that's cool. But I really thought there was going to be more with him, and then it just never really happened. And, like, I don't know, like, him in the hospital, like, I thought, it was really cute, like, him running up, giving him a little kiss, whatever, before he left, and whatever. But I don't know. I thought there was going to be, not necessarily to the level of him flying him up to the sun and healing him up again, but something.
They Rick-oned the shit out of this kid.
Rick-on, that's good. That's really good. No, he was pretty useless, other than him pushing the piano and, just saving his mom one time. That's pretty much it. Other than that, pretty Rick-on there. Yeah, he's pretty Rick-on-esque.
Yeah.
Rick-on. I thought you were trying to say, like, retconned.
No, they Rick-oned from Game of Thrones the shit out of this kid.
100%. 100%. Yeah, he's just kind of a non-factor.
Yeah.
I guess they were thinking of making a sequel, and he would have been obviously a lot bigger of a role in that one, I'm assuming.
They probably would have fast forwarded a bit and made him older too, Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. Like, with 2 hours and 37 minutes for the runtime of this, like, they could have done so much more. Like, so much more. How long was the original? Was it around there as well?
No, it was like an hour and 58 minutes or something like that, I want to say.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. That's just, I don't know what the extra time.
No, I was way wrong. 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay. So, yeah, I think they were just trying to remake the first movie with just updated effects and a little bit different of a storyline. But at the end of it, it's pretty much the same exact storyline. Just it's not California. It's just an island instead. That's going to kill way more people. But yeah, I don't know. Even the action we got, like, it's
just okay, man. It's just okay. But is it time for a rating for this movie? Is it that time?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just shitting on the movie, and I don't really know how much else I can really. What else?
Yeah, I mean, the more I thought about it, it's one of those rare ones where the more I thought and the more we talked about it, the less I liked it.
Yeah.
Because I came off of it. I came off of it not that bad. Like, I was kind of like, it could have been better. But, like, when it comes to the things we talk about in relation to these superhero movies, it's not that good. I like aside from the VFX, I don't know what I could point to and go, you know what? I really like that about this movie.
I mean, it didn't really, like, it. I think they made like $100 million profit or something like that, like a $350 million worldwide box office, and they spent like $200 million or something on the movie. So I mean, people were gonna go see the movie, like I bet like people were like, oh, we're continuing the Christopher Reeve, Superman, like this is gonna be really awesome, like that they're going in for it. And like it's not a terrible movie. It's just kind of
I would sooner watch it than a lot of movies. Like I certainly would. I would sooner watch it than Superman 3 or 4, but I think all that means is that I would just never watch this or Superman 3 and 4 again. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of how I feel. Like I truly don't think I'll ever watch this again.
Yeah, I don't think
and
so.
if I do, it's because I've done a mandate where I'm watching every Superman movie,
Yeah, I don't think this is one I'll revisit. Maybe like for some scenes, like just fast forward. I'll fast forward a whole lot, I think, through this one if I do watch it again, but probably not. And yeah, I did say it might have been closer to Superman 2, than Superman 3, but I don't think that's true. Like looking at
it's been a couple days since I watched this. I forgot to put a scene until like right as we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
I had trouble remembering anything to put.
Yeah, it's and that dull. Like,
and that's the thing. I can remember the shit out of Superman 3. Like there's scenes in those movies that I like miles more than anything that was in this movie. It's just the general movie itself that I can't abide, but at least those movies are interesting and fun, like
they're
quacky, they're boring.
Yeah, they're definitely out there, but this one's just
like Superman fighting himself somehow, and Richard Pryor going to that office and getting that dude rip-roaringly drunk in a giant cowboy hat. Like I can remember that whenever he like leans the Leaning Tower of Pisa upright and the dude's like really pissed, and then he goes back and adjusts it at the end and he's pissed because he's fixed all of his statues. Like I can remember all that shit. There's no little details in this movie that I'm going to be able to recall in 6 months. You know what I'm saying?
Shot. Yeah, no shot. Like him lifting the island, him saving the plane. Probably about it. That's probably about it that's going to like stick in my head. As far as this movie is concerned. And yeah, looking at like the numbers, like we gave Superman 2 a 7 enjoyment. And then the next
fucking close.
Yeah, Superman 4 and 4 we gave a 5.5, and Superman 3 we gave a 4.5.
Oh no. We gave Superman 4 a 5.5. That might be a problem.
Yeah,
I can't tell you. I cannot, because what else do we have on this? Like, there is something that happens with our rating system as we go that it kind of evolves to a point and starts to weight itself out differently. Like Superman 4 now probably wouldn't be a 5.5.
6.5 enjoyment. Actually,
for
maybe
Superman 4.
I put it wrong on the thing on the right, but in the box it says 6.5 enjoyment. Genre was 5.5.
Okay. So that's another thing with our rating system is that I do think now, if we were watching Superman 4 now with everything we've talked about and covered, that probably wouldn't be a 6.5 now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of, because that was like what, our 5th movie? 6th?
Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
7.
But
this is our 29th or 30th. Like this is we're deep in now. So like I don't think it'll be fair to compare it to Superman 4's rating. We would have to look at the last few weeks, just superhero movies, not necessarily Superman, because if I'm being honest with myself, I don't think I'd be able to tell you Superman 4 is a 6.5 enjoyment looking back. Yeah,
because that puts it's below Hulk, but above Elektra, Howard the Duck, Batman 66. I mean,
actually, that doesn't sound so bad to me.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it actually isn't that. Because, I mean, it is still Christopher Reeve Superman, and, like, the stories whatever, but like it's still campy.
Again,
and it's still
and it's not the critical level, because critically this movie is better than Superman 4 and Superman 3. Like I said, I do not know that I have as much fun watching it by any means. What did we give Superman 3 enjoyment wise?
a 4 or 5.
I can't go much higher than that. I can confidently go higher than that. I can't go much higher than that, though.
Yeah, I mean, Batman 66 is at a 5, and I think I'm going to. I'm watching Batman 66
soon.
That's for sure.
Let's see. I'm trying to look for some other. Like,
I don't think 6.5 is actually. Like, I don't think it's actually that bad.
No, I don't think that's that blasphemous for Superman 4.
Yeah.
Blade 2, we gave a 4.5. Supergirl, we gave a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is it above Supergirl?
It is. It is definitely. I think I would sooner revisit this than. But that's the thing, is that like I don't know. Being boring is so that's so bad.
I'd rather have the crazy fucking off the wall.
I would rather have the insane dumb shit. Maybe
it is just ties it. I don't know.
I'll go. I'm actually gonna split Supergirl and Superman 3 for me. Enjoyment.
4.25.
I could go 4.25 because I do got to give it a little credit in the. I don't even fucking know, man. I don't think I can. Would below a 4 enjoyment make this the second worst?
Yeah, Catwoman would be the only thing below it.
Do I feel that badly about this? I really don't feel good. It's
not good. It's not middle of the road. That's for sure. It's not 5.
No, the other thing is that
below 5. And
when it comes to this movie, I think the thing I'm having a really tough time grappling with is that it is it's a Superman movie. For you to make a Superman movie that I enjoy this little.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucking up, man. I can, because I know that character well and I love that character. When it came to Catwoman and Supergirl, I know Catwoman pretty well, but I don't know Supergirl all that well. I can just watch that movie and go, If I'm being 100% honest, I would watch Supergirl again in a heartbeat before I watched this again.
I think that's true. Yeah.
And it's the runtime comes into play there. The dullness of this movie comes into play there. It might be a 3.75, which is fucking crazy.
I think that's true. Cause Supergirl's out there and but at least you can have fun in how bad it is a little bit.
Yeah. And there's no fun in all of the life of this movie got sucked out of it. It is.
I think
it's so hollow.
I think it is a 3.75 here.
Oh, I did not see that coming when we started talking about it, bruh. That's crazy. I do think, I think objectively, I'll have to tell you it's better than those movies.
Yeah. We gave it Supergirl critically a
3. I can confidently go at least a 5, I think, on that. But we'll get there. Genre wise, pretty good action adventure stuff. Not nothing groundbreaking, but nothing terrible. We gave Superman 4 a 5.5, which,
Superman 3 was a 5, middle of the road there.
Yeah, I guess I would probably find myself at about 5.5 if I'm being honest. The action is really cool, but again, it's boring. And if you're boring, it's not going to help you,
Yeah, I think they had enough to make a trailer, and then that's about it. They had
and the action is exciting enough to propel it that high. But the movie just feels so lifeless otherwise that I can't tell you I think it's better in its genre than Superman 4.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Okay. So we're at a 3.75 there, a 5.5 there. Adaptation wise, I mean, they held, the spirit of Superman is there.
Yeah.
Lois is a little meh. Lex is a little meh. Yeah, I mean it's not like, I mean, I think we gave like Superman 1 to 10. It's not anywhere near that. Let's see, Superman 4 we gave a 6.5. Superman 3 we gave a 6.
It's
they had the theme, they had
I think
it was
I think that Superman himself is fine. Like, I don't have any problems with Superman. I think that he's a little stoic, but beyond that, that's not a terrible detriment to the character, I think the characters they do fuck up are Lois and Lex.
Yeah.
Which are pretty important.
Big characters.
Especially considering that the first Lois, the only problem with Margot Kidder's Lois is that she can't figure out Superman is Clark. And she did figure out Superman is Clark. He just makes her forget that.
None of that here. And they gave even more reason to have her figure it out here.
Yeah.
They even bring it up. Like, how tall is Superman? Oh, he's 6, blah, 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 this much, 200, whatever. And it's like, how tall you think Clark is? And they're like, and then they look at each other like, nah, no way. Like, no shot.
Like, laugh. Clark's listening the whole time like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
What did we give Superman 3?
A 6. And that's also X-Men is a 6, Blade's a 6, Blade 2 is a 6.
Might have been a little... No. I guess I'll give this a 6. I can't tell you it's a worse adaptation than Superman 3 because, again, at least everything in this movie does find its basis in comics. At least it can say that.
Because then you drop a little lower, like Batman and Robin, that's a 5. We were like, okay, like that's the villains there, and everything. That's that's middle of the road. At a 5, Elektra is a 5.
Yeah, I'll go 6. That's fine.
I can dig that. All right. And now, only thing left is critical. And let's see. Middle of the road? Is it at least middle of the road? Fantastic Four, Constantine, Hulk, Blade 2 would be at straight up 5s.
I'll say all those that you just said. I think the VFX are better than every single one of those things. I think that's the only thing I can tell you confidently is better than those things, though. Yeah. I don't think the story is as strong as...
Man, yeah, Elektra's 4.75. That might
feels pretty... I think that this movie feels pretty akin to Elektra, in my opinion, as far as that's concerned.
We just gave The Last Stand a 4.25.
I guess I think it's better than The Last Stand. That's a movie where I'd tell you the VFX are better than this movie's.
Performances probably are better.
And the performances are better, and...
the way it ended, that really blew.
Yeah.
And Superman 4, we gave a 4. Superman 3, we gave a 3.5. I don't think it's not in the 3s.
No. It's in the 4s.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like...
It doesn't have an ending that makes me go, what the fuck, the way The Last Stand does.
4.5? Like above Last Stand, it would put it below Elektra, below Fantastic Four, and Constantine.
I think... this is, I'm going to do some explaining. I think I'd tie it with The Last Stand. And here's why. Because I think The Last Stand is better acted. I think it takes what is the best thing about this movie, which is the visual effects, and elevates upon that. I think it has a generally better understanding of more of its characters. Granted, it's a much, much bigger cast. There's a lot more to be able to understand than this. At least it's not boring, bro. Like, yeah. I cannot speak enough to how badly that hurts this movie. Is that it's boring. Like, it's
yeah. That's, I mean, if that's the word you come back to for a movie, it's not good. Like, that's not good to come back to. And I think if we do give it a 4.25, it shakes it out to a 4.88, which puts it just above Superman 4, and above Elektra, above Fantastic Four, above Constantine, above Howard the Duck, but right below Blade Trinity, Hulk, Daredevil.
That's a 4.88, right?
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I was thinking 5.88. No, that is actually above Superman 3, but below Batman 66, below The Last Stand, below... Yeah, it's below Superman 4, and...
I feel that way.
Wow, it's a 4.88. Yeah,
the list started growing more and more, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't feel that. I don't feel that way. Because I definitely I'll revisit Constantine far sooner than I will this and Howard the Duck, and like it's just those movies have something going on. Like this movie's just dull, and that sucks. But it is what it is.
Above Superman, yeah, it's the fourth to last movie that we have now.
Where does it fall on your Letterboxd list? Do you have it plugged in? Because I have it plugged in, and it fell the more we talked.
I haven't quite plugged it in. I can do it real quickly though.
Yeah, I'll let you know in the meantime. So Superman 4, I have at 22. Superman 3, I have at 26. Supergirl, I have at 27. Superman Returns, I have at 28.
Yeah.
And that's second to last, only ahead of Catwoman. I would sooner revisit this than I would Catwoman. And that's just because Catwoman, like, even Catwoman is more entertaining, I would say, but it's because you're laughing at how bad it is. This one's not laughably bad. It's just nothing. It's just so middling that I can't.
Yeah, I think because my bottom is Catwoman, then Supergirl, and then Blade 2, and then Superman 3. I mean, it's a...
I want to tell you that I like it more than a lot of these movies, and I straight up don't feel right saying that. Like, whenever I think about would I sooner watch Blade 2 or Superman Returns, I'd sooner watch Blade 2. I don't want to tell you that, but I would.
No, yeah, I think I'm putting it below Supergirl. I think it's my second to last here.
I did not think something was gonna take that over.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, it's 28 on my list right now.
Yeah, it's 28 on mine as well. And I will be astonished. Like, I was already going to be astonished if Supergirl got overtaken for a bottom one, but then Catwoman happened, and I was like, well, then those are obviously the bottom two.
Yeah. I mean, I see why the Donner Cut came out after this. They're like, fuck, we need some better Superman movie. Like just give him anything. Let's fuck it, just remake the second one. Is that what it is? Yeah, it's Superman 2. Yeah, the Donner Cut. Yeah, like. I don't know. I think, and we get to that next, and hopefully it's a breath of fresh air.
It will be. It absolutely will be, because apparently it's even better than Superman 2, which I have in top 10. So, like, it should be fine. I'm hoping that'll be the rectification we're seeking. But in the meantime, we got Superman Returns at a 4.8, which is, I think... Or is it a 4.9? Is it a 4.88?
4.88, yeah.
Yeah, so
4.9.
49%.
IMDb gives it 6.1.
Yeah, wow. I think that's kind.
74% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score gives it a 61, though.
That's crazy. That's a couple weeks in a row where we're nicer than both IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of astonishing. I think all that movie watching.
Boring movie.
I think all that movie watching and where we're watching like actually good shit is really slanting our tastes against bad comic book movies.
Yeah, whenever you have Wes Anderson, Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig, I mean,
well, you know what's crazy is that like I went to the Superman IMDb just a little bit ago, just cause, and seeing Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, I was like, do you know how impressive it is that Wes Anderson made a movie so good that when I look at Gene Hackman, I don't see Lex Luthor now?
That's damn. Yeah. Whoa.
I see Royal Tenenbaum. Like that's the definitive Gene Hackman role in my mind now. And I love Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor and I love Superman. In fact, I like that movie way more than I like the Royal Tenenbaums, but I watched him in that movie and that's the role that I associate with Gene Hackman now. And that's kind of absurd to me, but, yeah, man, I guess with that, we'll go ahead and conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. And, you know, I would have liked to be a little kinder to the movie, but I just couldn't in my heart of hearts. I couldn't do it.
The more we talked about it, the more it just was like, man.
I did not like it. Yeah. Because I came into it thinking this was going to be a 50, and it was close. It was 49. But I mean, I thought every single category was going to be like 5, 5, 5, 5. Like, it's just a middle of the road. Not good, not bad. I came out of it thinking it's actively not good.
It's just dull. I don't know.
Boring.
Lois and Lex, like, just not
got to get them right. But yeah, in the meantime, until next week when we are covering the Donner cut of Superman 2, we've got Game of Thrones next Monday. Winter is blooming once again with Season 5, Episode 3 of Thrones. Very, very excited for that. And then we will continue our top 100 favorite movies ever next Wednesday with part 6, the 40s, 40 through 49. And I will spoil that I do have a DC flick in that. So, got a little something for you in the next week for the comic book movie fans.
Statement will be made.
A statement will be made.
That episode.
I'm so excited to hear what the fuck that is because you've said that a couple times and I'm so eager to find out what you mean by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a statement will be made next Wednesday.
That's all I'll say. Podcast.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I love it. I love the energy. But yeah, if you would head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content. For $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially and get any content of us covering Ahsoka. Not sure with what frequency we will cover Ahsoka. If it will even occur again until the end of the episode, until the end of the show, but I'm sure it will. It's we got a good hour-long conversation about the 2-episode premiere over there on Patreon. So go ahead and support the podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram and Threads at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember, leave a 5-star rate and review wherever it is you might be listening. Continue to download the episodes. It's been an amazing month, amazing couple months. We've been having a great run right now, and we're going to do this no matter what, even if people aren't listening, but it's nice to know when people are, and downloading is the best way for me to know you are. So download, and rate and review. All those things. Do all that. Let's see. Remember to support SAG-AFTRA and WGA and their struggle against the studios. It was a boring ass movie, but hey, someone's labor went into it. Someone deserved to be paid for that labor. I watched it on. I have it on Blu-ray, but you watched it on HBO Max, I assume.
I did indeed.
Nobody got any fucking money for that. I'll tell you that right now. And they deserve it. They put work in, and if you do the labor, you deserve to gain the fruits of your labor. You know, they're not getting any of them. They don't get to taste the sweet deliciousness of Monet. Kal Penn probably isn't getting shit for this movie, and he deserves all the money in the world.
Yeah. Man, what a sad. They didn't utilize him more, but
I know. Even Kal Penn, man. Harold and Kumar, go check that out. Especially the one where they went to White Castle and broke out of Guantanamo Bay. That's also cool.
Sounds amazing.
Oh, those movies rock. If you're stoner comedies, they're the shit. They're the shit, man. Harold and Kumar rock. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And how about having a movie that's so forgettable that I don't even have a quote on the top. I don't even have one that I can be like, I'm just going to throw it out there.
Maybe for the
I mean,
Homage? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Okay. I just looked at IMDb. Forgot this was even said. It feels like it should have been more impactful, but remember, peace, love, and bloom. And I hear everything. You wrote that the world doesn't need a savior, but every day I hear people crying for one.